Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another live stream at Dial Home Tech. Thank you guys so much for checking it out. Last week's stream was my first one. It was an awesome turnout, so I really want to say thanks to everyone that managed to come out last week. So thanks for supporting. Really appreciate it. And again, I want to make sure that you guys are safe out there. Want to wish you and your loved ones all of the best during this time of crisis. So hope you guys are staying healthy and that everything is okay with you. So if you are here today, you are here because we are going to be talking about IFTTT. So I want to make sure that I share with you guys some really good content on IFTTT. Let's have some good discussions around there. And yeah, let's get started. So the first thing I want to do is I want to, welcome all of you guys there on the chat right now. I want to take a quick look right now and see who is here. So let me take a quick peek here. 5 people. So I see Carlo right there. Hey, Carlo, welcome to the stream. And hey, Chris, welcome to the stream again. I appreciate you guys being here. Make sure that if you're joining the stream, guys, come over and say hello. Want to make sure I recognize you, and I want to make sure I give you a shout. So really want to thank you guys for showing up. So let's get started with this. So for those of you guys who are not really familiar with IFTTT, I want to make sure that I share with you what IFTTT is all about. So IFTTT is an online applet. So you can create little applets. So it's a web-based application that lets you create little applets. And these little applets really are triggers. So you can do triggers. So it derives from, programming language if, the loop if. So if something happens, then do that, right? So IFTTT kind of sparked up from that. So if something, goes one way, then do this other thing here. And it's such a powerful tool for you to use in your home automation. A lot of people will swear by it. I really like it. I really enjoy it. I don't use it for everything. And I'm not gonna lie, there is some reliability issues here and there, but it's a good tool. And in some of the things, some of the applets, right, some of the recipes that they're called that I have over the last few years actually run faithfully day in and day out without any issues. So I really enjoy that. So what I'm gonna do is today I'm gonna share a couple of things with you guys. If you've been following me on YouTube, you know that I've posted a couple of videos already about IFTTT. So you can actually go to my channel, check out the videos. I have some recipes there, and really you can see what some of the things that I use, some of the things that I do. So with that being said, if you guys I'm gonna switch this to a different view here, the chat view, so that way I can interact with you guys. Again, bear with me, this is new, so I want to make sure that I have the best experience possible here for you guys. But I want to follow the chat. I want to see what you guys are saying, and I want to make sure that we are interacting on this. But again, so I want to share a couple of things here. So one of the things I want to share is one of my favorite IFTTT recipes. And if you haven't yet, you can check out the website. It's IFTTT.com, and there you can kind of sign up. And then it'll allow you to connect certain things, right? Whether it's a smart home device or a service that you use, like a music service of sorts and things like that. It's really, really powerful. And I'm gonna share some of my favorite things with you guys right now. So and I see Carlo is getting impatient. He's like, "What is your favorite IFTTT recipe?" So, and I'll share with you. A little bit of backstory in this. I, once we moved into this house, I, was not used to always kind of closing my garage doors and things like that. So I would literally leave in the morning and then come back, from work 8, 9, 10, 12 hours later, and find my garage door still open. And, we were, a little bit on the suburbs. And so, there's definitely some wooded areas around, my house. So, I was scared of having animals just kind of go in. I found some, larger insects and things like that inside of my garage. And I was like, how's that getting in here? And then obviously it was because I was leaving my garage door open. So what I did was I looked for, a recipe that would let me do that. So I went and this is my favorite recipe, is when I leave the house and I forget to close my garage doors, it'll automatically do it for me just based on my location. So the way that it works is it uses the geolocation of your phone. So it's a service that your phone offers. So as long as it's within like a certain location, and it lets you set up like a circle, it's like a geolocation circle around your house. Once your device leaves that place, IFTTT. So if the device leaves that place, then close the garage door, right? So what was happening is I would leave, forget to close my garage, and then and then the garage closes. So when I leave that area, that kind of marked area, the garage door will close by itself without me having to, do it over the phone. I even had to set up, at one point I set up notifications to let me know if the garage had been open over 30 minutes to kind of notify me, and then I started doing it manually. But with IFTTT, once I left the house and everything, it would automatically close the garage door. So that by far one of my favorite ones. Absolutely love that. So and I saw my wife joining too to support. So I appreciate you, babe. I love you. Thank you for coming. And but I want to hear, like, I don't know, Carlo or Chris or anybody else on the chat, if you guys have a favorite one, definitely share with me. I would love to talk about it, unpack, and and get a little bit more to the nitty gritty here. But moving on, I want to share a couple more here. I made a little bit of a list. So some of you guys may be thinking, like, what does this have anything to do with home automation, right? How do I get into the whole automation thing, if I don't have any smart devices? Well, IFTTT is not just for home automation. You can actually automate services. So let's say, if you have a particular service that you use a lot, I know some people use it for social media, right? So one of the things that I've seen, and then it's probably one of the most used recipes on IFTTT, is that you can save your tagged photos from Facebook on your iOS device. So when someone tags you on Facebook, that particular image will get saved to your phone, right? As in it was as if you had saved that picture. So it's just kind of like, for memory keeping and things like that. There are a few variations of it. I know one that if there's a picture that you posted on Twitter or Instagram, and I believe it's Twitter, if you posted a picture on Twitter and there's like a certain hashtag to it, IFTTT will go out, pick up that picture with the hashtag, and save it to like your Dropbox account, right? So there are ways that you can kind of mitigate and go around there. So you can automate, things that will let you just kind of, do little things that, for record keeping or memory, keeping and things like that. So that's a really, really cool. Like I know someone that did that on their wedding day, right? So they created like a hashtag for the wedding day, and then they were using that particular hashtag on their Twitter feed and everything. So all of the pictures that people posted on Twitter and using the hashtag got saved to their Dropbox account, and then they had like a ton of pictures there from everyone. So that was really, really cool. So let's see, a couple people here in chat. So I know Carlo was saying, I use IFTTT for my Rakio devices a lot. And I have it skip watering the lawn when it rains or when wind kicks up. That's so true. I've seen a couple that you can use for like weather. So a couple of variations of that is like if it's gonna rain on the next day, don't even bother turning on the the sprinklers and things like that. And I saw another variation of that is like, if it's gonna snow, or I just recently saw one that was talking about allergies, right? Allergies. So if the allergies and like pollen level on the next day is gonna be above like a certain threshold, to flash your lights blue or flash your lights red at home to let you know that those things are going to happen, even if you don't have access to the phone, like in the morning if you're not looking and you don't have the time to do it. So there are a lot of things you can do. So those are really useful, Carlo, and I really like those. I don't have a sprinkling system here at home yet, but that's going to be for sure one of the things I do once I have my system installed, because I know that there's a lot of automation that you can do around there, and I know IFTTT is powerful in that. So Chris was saying, I use IFTTT to take air quality measurements out of my Aware and Yoohoo AQI sensors and write them directly into a Google Sheets document for later analysis. That is so true. We keep a close tab here at home on our air quality sensor. So if you haven't yet, I do have a video on a channel where I review Yoohoo. And also, if you do want to check out, Chris has a channel on YouTube also that he talks about a few air quality sensors. So if you're someone who is just recently now that you're spending more time at home and you really want to kind of dig into the quality of your air, you would be surprised how crazy it is that sometimes the air that we're breathing inside of our houses are actually more polluted than the air that we breathe out there, just because of like chemicals and things, CO2, a lot of things inside the house, a lot of variables that can be contained. But definitely check out those videos. There's a video on my channel. There are some videos on Chris where he can share some of that stuff with you guys. But that's so true, Chris. We try to stay on top of our air quality too, because I haven't used IFTTT to do anything like that, to write on Google Sheets or really keep that close of a tab. But it's so important though to make sure that you're kind of tracking, right? So how are these things are progressing? How are these things are kind of going over over a certain period of time? And then Carlo was saying, I save all of my pictures on Facebook tagged of me to my Evernote. So there you go. Evernote is another tool, another service that works really, really well with IFTTT. So if you're an Evernote user, there's a ton of things in there that you can do to automate, even like from note taking, from picture saving, sharing, a lot of things there that you can do with Evernote, like immense support on Evernote for IFTTT. So I saw that Modern Day Tech just joined too. So hey Eric, welcome to the chat, welcome to the stream. If there's anybody else that joined too while we were talking, make sure that you say hello. I want to give you a shout and recognize you here. Thank you guys so much for coming. I really appreciate it. So let's go back to this. So Chris, I use the Twitter, YouTube, WordPress, and Instagram recipes to push content back and forth between all their services. Really great way to automate the content posting process. That is so true. For all of us who are content creators, it is a major struggle to try to, kind of share your stuff on social media. You have to do it to Twitter, you have to do it on Facebook, you have to do it on Instagram, you have to do here, you have to do there. There's just so many things that you have to juggle when you're releasing new content. You want to make sure you get as many eyes on it as possible, and it's a grind. So it's definitely a thing. So IFTTT does an awesome job with that. It does let you see how you can do automation of content, so it'll periodically post things. Really awesome tool there that lets you do that. So definitely check out that, how you can integrate Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and a few other ones, a few other social media services there too. So that's really cool. So as we're going down, the iKettle has also an IFTTT integration with Alexa, computer, trigger tea, Earl Grey hot, and my kettle starts to boil. I feel like a Starship captain. That is so true. I've seen ones. I know Wemo does one too. So you can do integrations with IFTTT. Like I saw one recently where Wemo has the coffee pots too. So you can do once it's sunrise. So every day at sunrise, it'll kick off the coffee maker, and it'll start making the coffee for you. So by the time you get downstairs or whatever to your kitchen, boom, there you go, fresh pot of coffee right there waiting for you. So that's really, really awesome. I don't have an iKettle. I definitely need to get one, because these little things are just awesome. Like, you can, yeah, I agree with you. Whether you're using a command, so if you don't know, so you can integrate Google Home Assistant to the IFTTT, and you can also integrate your Amazon enabled Echo device to do that as well. So, and I promised Chris I wasn't gonna say the A word today. I'm trying really, really hard. So that's really cool. Yeah, and Carlo was saying indoor quality is definitely something I want to get into. Yes, it is, Carlo. It's definitely a cool thing to do. We do it because, as I mentioned on my review video, our son, had some, allergy issues, some respiratory things. So we try to stay on top of the air quality thing. It's important to us, and even when we go somewhere, the portability factor on a lot of those air sensors is really important. So I want to say, hey, Ruth is here, so my mom is here too, so I guess the family came to support today, so I want to say hello to her as well. So yeah, thank you all of you guys for coming and showing up. Carlo was saying, for IFTTT, there are a ton of fun home automation recipes too. You can have a light blink in the house, for Philips Hue when you're tagged on a Facebook, Twitter post. That is so true. I saw a few of Hue variations, and that is definitely one of them. People will, kind of make the light blink in case you've been tagged on something, so you don't have to look at your phone. Or if you don't have your phone around you, you know that, if you're, for those of you guys like social media bugs, you have to know right there and then when something happens. Yeah, you can do that. The light will flash or turn into a different color. I was talking to someone, and that person did an automation on, they have a smart dryer. So their dryer is actually a Wi-Fi enabled, an LG Wi-Fi enabled dryer. And once, washer and dryer, once they finish the load, and their laundry is also upstairs, and they have, like a family room downstairs. So once they finish their load, they set up an IFTTT recipe that once the load to wash finished, to start blinking the lights blue downstairs. He has one bulb that he has that kind of set to. So that one particular bulb will start blinking once the load is done, and then he kind of goes in there and knows not to leave the the laundry sitting there for another hour or two, or even forgetting that the laundry's been there after it's been washed. So you kind of want to get that on a dryer as quickly as you can. My wife can attest to that. So and so yeah, so that's a really nice one. It's really cool ways that you can do colors, visual cues, and things like that with Hue. So going back to my list a little bit, another favorite one that I have, and is I have this one set up on my foyer. As soon as kind of enter my house, there is like I have a light set up on the side there, and one of the recipes that I use there is every day as sunset, that light will come on. So it's just a little bit of like a night light. It's a subtle light. It comes on at like 30%. So it gives a little bit of a view, because sometimes I'm coming downstairs from the room to get like a glass of water or something. So I want a little bit of light there so I can see and navigate a little bit better. And that light will also turn itself off every day at sunrise. So that's a cool thing that you can do. You can set up lights to turn on at sunset, at sunrise. I know, perhaps you are someone who comes home from work late, like maybe, you live on a dark place, or like a dark street without a lot of lights, and you want to, feel a little bit safer. You want to kind of make sure that you have the proper light when you get there. You can use IFTTT to let you do that. So you don't even need like a certain smart bulb. You can do that with, if you have like a smart switch, or, certain bulbs like Philips Hue will let you do that. So you can set up recipes that, let's say if you're coming home at, 11, 1, 2, 3 in the morning, and you want that light to be on by the time you get there, you can do it in a few ways. You can do it in a geofencing way. So by the time you approach the house at a certain distance, the light will come on. or you can do it at a certain time. If you know you're getting home, you know, every day at like 2:30, you can have the lights come on at like 2:15. So by the time you get home, lights are on, you see where you're going, you see if there's anything, you know, suspicious there. So very easy to track, very easy to kind of interact. So definitely a very, very good option and a very, very good recipe out there. Yeah, so a couple of you guys, so Carlo was saying, I love the laundry alert. Yeah, that is cool. Like when he was telling me about that, I was like, that is such a good idea. He has I think it's like an IKEA lamp with like 3 lights, and the top one is a colored light, and he you know, he that light starts to flash every time it's, you know, the laundry is done. So he just kind of goes up there and you know, gets the laundry done. So let's see here on chat. So nice Carlo on or weather. If rain turn on he light to blue, it's a good one. Yeah, it is. It's an awesome idea. I love that one. And then Chris, the umbrella light is also a good idea. We have our living room lights turn red if any windows are open after sunset. That is so cool. Like I would need to invest like some, you know, serious money on buying you know, open close sensors for all of my windows if I wanted to do that. But it's so true. That's awesome. Like, you know, for even from an energy saving perspective, like you can do that with Nest. So, you know, Nest can see if you know, if there's any windows open, then don't turn on the AC, or send an alert, or do some sort of visual cue where you can see that that option is, you know, you shouldn't be running whatever the trigger is just yet, for your wallet's sake. So Chris was saying, if Vanessa detects washer is done, then Dial Home Tech puts it in dryer. Pretty much, yeah. The thing is that there's a little bit of a procrastination variable in there. Doesn't always work as intended, or as I'd like to say, it works just as, you know, just as intended. So you know, work as designed there. But yes, it's a struggle here. We definitely need some visual cues when it comes to that. And so let's see. I like the idea about the reminder on the umbrella. Yeah, that is awesome. And Carlo was saying, Simply Safe Alarm is also IFTTT compatible. It's eye-opening when you see how many devices support IFTTT. So true. So very true. To what Carlo was saying. When you go to the IFTTT website, you're going to see there so many services and so many devices that are compatible to it. But beyond that, once you click on that service, you can also see, you know, like all of the things that people have come up with, in addition to the things that you can come up with using IFTTT. So there are just a ton of services there. There are just a ton of devices that you can kind of link into. And there's just like a ton of things that you can come up with and think about it. So I want to, you know, touch on a couple more here from my list, and then we'll get back into this. So let me see. So one of the ones that I really like. So this one is that it lets you add songs to your Spotify playlist based on if you like that song on YouTube. So you connect your YouTube account, right? So your Google account to your Spotify account. And every song, so every music video that you like on YouTube, it'll take that song and upload that song to your Spotify playlist. So if you want to build like a quick playlist, you know, maybe like a summer playlist or a party playlist or whatever, that is such an easy way of doing that by simply liking some of the songs and some of the videos that you see on YouTube. And then automatically create that playlist for you by just, you know, locking in those two services, right? So like Carlo was saying, the possibilities here are just endless on everything that you can't do with IFTTT. And then another one that I really enjoy is the one, you know, and Chris touched on this one, is the turning the lights on at sunset. So I use that for my house. It works like a charm. And, you know, a lot of people will talk about, IFTTT is not reliable, especially when it comes to, the geo fencing stuff, like the GPS, and, uptime is okay. And I've seen a lot of reports. I have fortunately only experienced some kind of like, downtime on some of my geolocation stuff. Some of, the one that I was talking in the beginning, the garage, it has stopped working a few times. So it's not always like a charm, but it's been working. And every time I kind of, take a look at it and see if something happened, maybe just a quick reset or whatever, it goes back, into the mode that I need to, and it works. But my light one, the one in the four with Philips Hue, and it uses a service called Weather. That one, to use the time, right? So use the time in your local area of the sunset and sunrise. That one has been working flawlessly ever since I set up the service. Over probably like a year and a half ago. So that is so if that isn't reliable to me, then I don't know what is. So sure, some people have complained about some issues there on the reliability. But I think that for the most part, they are getting better, and the more services that are getting added, they tend to work, well, and they tend to work, and the uptime on it is actually pretty good. So definitely, get into it yourself if you haven't yet. So Chris was saying, Carla was saying rather, IFTTT is great for things that are not time sensitive. So if you don't mind a 30-second delay, it's amazing. Yeah, that's another thing too. IFTTT, from experience, I've seen it a few times, with the delay, and Carlo hit the nail on the head. If it's something that you need to happen, at a certain time, at a certain point, in a certain way, then, perhaps you might want to see, if it's something that works. But if it's something that, like the lights, for example, right? If they come on at sunset, like exactly at like, let's say sunset is at like 7:56, they don't need to come on at like 7:56. Excuse me. We will survive if the light comes on at like, 7:59 or 8 o'clock or whatever the case may be. But the important thing to me is that once it's coming on by itself. It's something that I don't have to kind of remember to do, and also it needs to go off, right? So to save me money, to make sure that I'm not just wasting energy there, and that works, like a charm. So it's a really, really good, really good service for those things as well. So definitely check on that. And the best part of it, it's free. Yes, it's completely free. You don't have to pay for anything. You can use the service. You can create as many recipes as you want. You can share them, and they even get upvoted. So the more popular ones, you have tons of people using it. So that's a really, really cool thing. Abode security system also has an IFTTT skill, but seems that it doesn't report an open window event, only when the window opens. So yeah, so one of the interesting things that that I've seen is that I'm actually gonna make a video on this. Excuse me. I had someone, I posted a video a while back on how to automatically close your garage doors and open as well. There used to be a service on IFTTT that you could interact with MyQ, where you could not just close your garage, but also open your garage once you are at a certain location. That is no longer the case. The open option is not available anymore. So when you have MyQ is the service for the automated garage service that you can use. I think it's by Chamberlain or something like that. But you can use MyQ and to do the closing, but the opening one doesn't really work, and that was a little bit of a bummer to me. I know that the service was there, and then something happened. I think for security purposes or whatever, they kind of pulled that feature out. But what I wanted to say is that I have like a workaround that I use with another app that's called Simply Command. And simply command, I don't know if any of you guys on the chat know Chris or Carlo or anyone else, but simply command is a very similar service to IFTTT that lets you do triggers, right? So if something happens, then do that. And I'm going to post a video on that and share with you guys what I do for my garage, because there's been a ton of people on that video posting. So that's the most asked question on that video. It's like, I can do the closed, can't do the open one anymore. Like, what's going on? So that service is no longer an option. It's no longer available there on IFTTT for the MyQ app. But I will post on an upcoming video how to do the opening as well. I just tested recently. I've been using it and it works like a charm. It's really, really good. It's just a different service that you're using. But it's one of those things that you kind of like set up and leave it there. And it's really, really good. So I really like that one, and I'll give you guys some content on that coming soon. So let's see. Let's go down the chat here and see. So many possibilities. If it's not right now thing, IFTTT can be so useful. Yeah. So like you know, like we were saying, if it's not a like a right now, right away kind of thing, then definitely something that IFTTT excels. And and then you can take advantage of it. It's really, really awesome. There's also, Chris is saying there's also Zapier and Integromat services that I use. Yes, I haven't used Integromat, but I have used Zapier or Zapier, whatever they're called. Yes, they are good. So I've used Zapier before for integration of social media. So like Twitter and things like that. Twitter, YouTube, and so on and so forth. It posts things for you automatically. So that's a really good, kind of trigger service as well. So you can do certain triggers with that. And before I show you guys just like one quick thing on IFTTT, actually, I want to show the chat or whoever is in here. For those of you guys who haven't used IFTTT yet, I'll show you how simple it is to create a little applet, and I'll kind of walk you through it and show you how to do it. So, but I do want to share one more, and this one is probably a lifesaver for a lot of you married men, or engaged, or boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever your partner out there. It is a emergency anniversary reminder. You can set up IFTTT to send you a reminder, an email or a text or something the week of or a few days before your anniversary. So you don't get caught with your pants down on that one, and you don't have the excuse to say, yep, honey, I forgot it, or whatever the case may be. Don't put yourself in that situation anymore. There is a way out of it, guys. You can do it. So make sure that you take advantage of that one. So the way that it works is, once it gets to a certain date, it uses a calendar app. So that week, it'll send you an automated email message that you can actually draft whatever you need to with the subject, and remind you that on that week, you and your beloved one are gonna celebrate your anniversary. So you can do all the preparations you need to, whether it's buying a gift, whether it's making dinner reservations, or whatever the case may be. Definitely make sure that you check on that. If you are like myself, not so good with dates, I tend to forget dates quite often. So Chris was saying, my Q shenanigans was because of the cost of IFTTT for the manufacturers. It's free for us, but not cheap for companies who want to offer this to their customer. I was just reading at your next message, but that's too funny. But yeah, I agree. And I had read something about that too. The cost of like the integration, and there's a lot of things that go around there when they want to support a certain application. There's just countless hours of dev time and test time that go into it. And it's definitely a cost saving aspect there. So definitely agree with you. And then laughing at what Chris is saying. So how IFTTT saved my marriage video coming up, guys. Showing you how to do the IFTTT marriage saving tips on your Dial Home Tech next few episodes. So, no, but seriously, it's such a cool little thing that you can do to help you stay on track, not just your anniversary, but important dates too. I'm sure whether it's a meeting or something like that. So definitely a cool little thing. And to just kind of blab a few of the ones that I know is that you can help IFTTT to sync up with your Amazon enabled device to find your phone. Another really cool one that's always super popular on the IFTTT website that you can see is that if you have an Android device, you can set up a recipe that will replace your background, so your wallpaper, every day with a picture of the day from NASA. So there is, they have like awesome pictures every day if you follow NASA's picture of the day. And you can use that to switch the background of your phone, like by itself. You don't have to do anything. It just goes on, it pulls the, the image, it sets as your background, and then right there and then you can have something different on your phone every day. So a lot of like little services like that, they're just like so cool. And then there's another one that's funny too. Is like you can use the service to get you out of an awkward situation. Like it can have your phone ring at a certain time, so you can be like kind of looking at your phone, pretending like you're texting something, but really you're just triggering that recipe right there in your hand to have a fake phone call come in within the next like minute or so. So that's something you can do. That among many other fun things on IFTTT. I definitely want to show a couple of things here. So Carlos, before we go to Carlos saying that's true, iOS has a great IFTTT app as well, which allows for triggers locally, I believe. Yes, that is true. So iOS is pretty freaking awesome when it comes to the IFTTT integration. So there's just a ton of that on there. So let me pull up this page right here and I'll show you guys a couple of things. Let me see, hopefully it'll go on well onto the stream. So I do want to show you guys just like a little something here on this page. So the way that it works is, you would go to your like IFTTT .com, you'd sign up, have your account created, and then these are like some of the services that that you use or that you can use. So these are some of the services that I use for some of the automation that I currently have. But there's just like so much you can do. Like, so, for example, let's say if you select, so iOS reminders is another great one. So Carlo was just saying, the iOS integration with IFTTT is awesome. So we have one where I tell, when I tell my, my Amazon enabled device to add something to my shopping list, what IFTTT will do is it'll take that shopping list and send it to my iOS reminders as an item of my list. So it automatically goes there, and you can share like the reminders, with your spouse, or you can share with whoever, and then that person will have access to it as well. So that's a nifty little thing by just saying, if you don't want to sit there and just like manually write down your grocery list or do that, you can use that service for iOS reminders dedicated to that, and then create things on the fly by just talking to your platform of choice, and have that created for you so that you have quick access to it. You don't have to keep writing anything down. But so I'll show you guys. So, like if you click on like Philips Hue, there are things here. So these are like the ones that I have. So I have, dim the foyer, turn on the light at like my son's bedroom, and turn on the light at a certain color. So that's a cool little thing too. A lot of people use those kids clocks, like to for like sleep training and things like that. What we did was we have our IFTTT set up the recipes that the light will come on at a certain time. So if the light is on, that means we're approaching bedtime, right? And it's time to, start getting ready and, after dinner, shower and things like that. And then at one point, the light will turn to a different color. And at that point, the light turns to like a light blue. Once that light turns into light blue and it goes into like 5-10% of a dim, he knows it's time to go to bed, right? So we don't have to do anything else. And then the light will kind of turn off at a certain point, and it'll turn on again in the morning at a green color to let him know that he needs to stay in bed up until the moment that the light turns green. If it's not on in green yet, he should not be leaving the bed. Doesn't work in my case because he still kind of comes around and things like that, but it's worked a few times before, but that is just a non costly way. So if you're buying those clocks on Amazon or whatever, you're sometimes you're paying a little bit of a premium for it, where if you have like an existing colored RGB bulb, smart bulb at home, you can just use that as part of your service and use that to do it. So that's a really cool thing. But here are some of the things that you can do. So for Hue, you can select tell A to start the party with the Hue light color show. Blink your lights when your doorbell rings. So this is an integration with Ring. So if let's say you're upstairs and you don't have, like you're using headphones or something. Let's say you're gaming or editing or just, working, and you have noise canceling headphones and your doorbell rings. You can have a light in your office or your work area or whatever start to blink so that you know that there's somebody at the door. So, these are like cool little nifty things that you can do, to do that. So, and if you click explore here, it lets you kind of like make your own, and then it gives you like a few other options. So like let's say there's there you go, Carlo, more iOS integration here, and even things that you can do it on the go when you're traveling. So the picture stuff that I was mentioning, applets for social media, get a notification when there's a new video from a channel that you're subscribed to. So a lot of like cool little things that you can do to just kind of up your game when it comes to automating. So there you go, a reminder to drink water. My wife is probably saying you need to use that one because I neglect my water drinking sometimes, and I need to do that. And not because I don't, it's just because sometimes I'm so caught up with like work and in a meeting or something like that I will be running from room to room, when I was at the office. So it's really important to do that. Set yourself a reminder to drink water. You don't need a smart bottle for that. So and then I said I was gonna show you guys how to do one. So filter source. Let's say if I select like Hue here, I can pick one. Tell Google Assistant to set the scene. Okay, Google, it's party time. So you can pick this one, and then once you've selected, you can connect. So then what it'll do is it'll bring you to the account and the things that you need to do. And then you can do the services that way. So IFTTT. So you can do the service that way. So it lets you connect the account that you need to, and it lets you use the services that you need to that way. So it's simple. It's most of them are like 2 or 3 fields that you have to do. So very, very simple, very easy. So Yoo-Hoo has another one here too. So it's really not like a complex application. Anyone can do it. It's really not that hard to do it. So let's see a few more comments here. So Carlo was saying home automation is the third parent in our household. So yeah, so true. So we use so much here that it's it's something that you can do to automate little things, right? So there's a lot of things that you can do to improve your day-to-day. Use this as a tool that you can kind of expand on and explore. Really, like it's this is not even scratching the surface. You know, a lot of these things that we discussed today is not even like scratching the surface. There are so many things, so many options, so many services that you can kind of link into. And then beyond the service that you link into, there are different devices, right? Like when you're using Wemo as a service, they have just like a plethora of devices in there that you can do, like a coffee maker, smart switches, smart plugs, and you know, a bunch of other things that let you really take your game like onto the next level when it comes to home automation. Yeah, so people are saying, yeah, tech, grab a hydrate bottle, it flashes. Yeah, I've seen that before. That's why I was saying that. It reminds you to, you know, like drink the water. So you can use IFTTT to do that and set yourself a reminder on your phone or email, so that way you can, you know, kind of get reminded of that. So I see LJ. I hadn't seen you before, so welcome. Just want to say hello to you, make sure I recognize you. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the stream. And then again, so I really want to, you know, kind of thank you guys for showing up. I hope some of these IFTTT, you know, tips or tricks, or even the conversation that we sparked here today, you know, hopefully it helped you and it, you know, shined a light in some of the things that you can automate, so you can get into home automation even without having any smart devices at home, by simply automating services that you use on a regular basis, whether it's your social media, or it's just something that you're constantly on, like, you know, your Twitter, you know, your Dropbox or Evernote and things like that. So there are a ton of ways, a lot of things that you can do, and you can definitely use that in order to automate for free, you know, all of those things that you do on your day-to-day life. So again, want to thank all of you guys for coming over, showing up. I really appreciate each and every single one of you. Want to wish you guys all the health and all the well, being that you can going into these, you know, weeks. I hope all of your loved ones are healthy and everything is well with you. And again, thank you guys for coming over and showing up. And yeah, so I'll see you guys next week on the next live stream. And yeah, as I always say, until next time, I'm Dial. See ya.